Secretary, thank you for taking the time. Why on earth are we here?
So the president gave a State of the Union address, and his first trip after the State of the Union address is to Corpus Christi because this symbolizes American energy dominance. The oil export terminal here is the third largest in the world and the largest in the Western Hemisphere. It's also a huge exporter of liquefied natural gas. And we're specifically at this gas station to celebrate the amazing decline in gasoline prices. Gasoline today is $2 a gallon cheaper than it was in the middle of the Biden administration. So we wanted to see the consumers here that are filling their gas tank up, do they like the fact that gasoline's $2 cheaper? And it turns out today we got a unanimous vote. Everyone prefers lower gas prices.
And being near refineries, being in a state that refines it, no surprise it's a little cheaper, $2.59 here. According to AAA this morning, it's $2.60 across the state on average, $2.98 nationally, but down from $4.69 in June 2022, which is your point.
Yes.
Your argument is the administration's policies are helping drive that down. I am curious, though, because there is one administration policy being debated right now that could cause a spike again, and that is potential military action against Iran that would cause instability in that region and potentially disrupt production and distribution. So are you factoring for that, or concerned at all that they could spike again?
Yeah, well, I think they're up a little bit right now based on that. But what's critical for this administration is that with American energy dominance and our alliance with other major producers in the world, that he can pursue a foreign policy that makes sense geostrategically and not, I can't do anything because it'll make gas prices go up. Look, do you want a nuclear-armed Iran, the largest sponsor of terrorism in the world, a huge troublemaker in the Middle East? Think of how the Middle East would prosper if we didn't have the threat, a looming threat of Iran over our head. So the president is all in to try to end the risk that Iran poses to the Middle East and to the broader world.
As Energy Secretary, you made the trip down to Venezuela a few weeks ago. It's on the mind of the president. He brought it up at the State of the Union as well, and he talked about the petroleum coming here to the United States. Is any of that coming here to Corpus?
Absolutely. In fact, you'll see a ship at the dock later today that came from Venezuela. That'll be unloaded into a refinery here, Valero refinery here.
And that oil then gets distributed into American supply.
Exactly. That oil, a lot of the American refineries were built in the 1960s and 1970s. At that time, Venezuela was the world's largest exporter of crude. So a lot of refineries were built with that kind of particular heavy, more viscous crude in mind. So it's perfectly suited for American refineries. And it's just starting to arrive in the United States. It'll help also push down gasoline, diesel, and travel prices.
Do you have a sense yet of how much has arrived and how much more is coming and when?
So the oil is just starting to come now because refiners buy their oil a month or so ahead. Okay. So as it gets into March, you'll see a lot of Venezuelan crude arriving for what's called the March runs, the refining of oil this March. But one of the tankers is arriving right now. That's not the first one, but it's early on.
So what does that do then to the demand on the American production or getting the LNG out of here? Does that ease the burden on American oil companies then to refine here in the States, or
in your refinery, you want a mix of different oil types. And in the U.S., we produce a lot of light sweet crude. In fact, we produce so much of it that we have to export a lot of it to refiners elsewhere, and we have to import this heavier, more viscous oil. We import some of that from Saudi Arabia or Mexico or Canada. So this is just giving us an additional supply of that heavier end crude in Venezuela right here in our own hemisphere.
So if, and I emphasize if, we're in a situation in a month where something is up in Iran in terms of U.S. military engagement, but this Venezuelan oil is coming into the United States, where are gas prices?
Absolutely, it helps push gas prices down. More Venezuelan crude coming into the United States and flowing out of Venezuela helps keep gasoline and diesel prices down, whatever happens in the world.
What else should we know about today or in general?
We're going to celebrate this hardworking community that's got a bunch of industrial facilities. And as we reindustrialize America, you're going to see more investments in places like Corpus Christi and across the country. The broader agenda of the president is lower prices and higher wages. And lower energy prices are necessary for both of those, to push prices down, but also to push wages up. Because if you have low cost of energy, you attract data centers want to build their factories, want to build their manufacturing, refineries want to build where there's affordable energy. So We're just trying to make life better for Americans.
You never worked at a gas station back in the day, did you?
I never did, unfortunately. You know, I worked at restaurants and I worked mowing lawns and landscape and never worked in a gas station, but I did today.
You got your time in today. All right, thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Secretary. Appreciate it.
Thanks for being here.
All righty, take care.